Today, we're going to spice up the kitchen a little bit. We are making a Southern classic red beans and rice. Hello friends, welcome back to my kitchen. It's Christina with eatingonadime.com. My sister Carrie and I are on a mission to teach real families how to make all sorts of food at home. It's healthier, it's more affordable, and it's really easy to do as well. And today we are making red beans and rice. Now we have a crock pot version, but today is a new stovetop version. It is easy, it's delicious, it's better than any that I've ever had when I'm out at a restaurant. And you are going to love how easy it is to make. So I have linked this recipe in the description below, so you don't have to worry about writing anything down. We've done it all for you. It has the nutritional information. It has the tips and tricks. So make sure you check that out. All right, let's get cooking. First, let's talk about red beans. So you can't make red beans and rice without red beans. For this recipe, I am using a pound of dry red beans. The secret to making these at home on the stovetop is you want to soak them overnight. Now, for time's sakes, I've already done that. You want to soak them, so just put them in a bowl, cover them with cold water, let them soak for at least 8 hours. I do overnight, and then you just got to drain them off in the morning, and then they're ready to cook. Now, this helps them get nice, tender, and soft, so do not skip that step. And then you'll need sausage. For classic red beans and rice, it does have andouille sausage in it. You'll want a pound. I have a wonderful little assistant that is watching me right now, my dog Rio, and he really wants to try this, but not yet, Rio, okay? So you want a pound. Any type this can do. I get the most affordable. If you can't find andouille sausage, you can do smoked sausage as well. To get this ready to cook, we are going to cut this into about a 1/2 inch thick rounds. So you just slice it here, and then we are going to brown this in the pan. So I just wanted to show you up close to let you know how thick to make it. And honestly, it's really just going to be based on your preference because the andouille sausage is already cooked. We're just going to brown it and heat it through. And we want to do that to get all the flavor from the sausage into our red beans. But I like to do about a 1/2 inch thick rounds, and it works perfectly. Now let's get our veggies ready. So anytime I have a stovetop recipe, I like to kind of get all the ingredients ready. So then when we go to the stovetop and we start cooking, everything's at arm's reach and it goes pretty quick from there. So for this recipe, veggie-wise, for classic red beans and rice, you need an onion, a green bell pepper, and celery. To make things easier, I am using the chopper that Carrie and I are both obsessed with from Amazon. Of course, I've linked it in the description below. Let me know in the comments if you guys have one of these yet or not. I'm really curious who has one, who's loving them. It saves so much time in the kitchen. And the best part about this recipe is all these veggies are going to be added at the same time. So I just chop them all right in there, and I use it as a holder as well. So let's start with the onion. We want a whole onion, so just start by cutting the ends off and peeling the onion. And then for the chopper, I find it's best to quarter the onion for the best pieces in the chopper. So I'm going to show you guys this up close. Oop. All right, so we have the small blade in it. It comes with like one where it's bigger pieces and one with smaller. I'm using the smaller today. Once you quarter the onion, put it point side down into the chopper. Chop away. And then you have perfectly chopped onions every single time. Now we're going to do the same thing with our bell pepper. When I use the bell pepper in the chopper, I just cut off the sides of the pepper. You can remove any membranes if it bothers you, but honestly, it doesn't bother me at all. So just to save time, I'm not even going to worry about it. Sides are off. Then you just need to cut those little pieces down so that they fit into your little chopper square right here. So that is just a little bit big. I'm going to cut all of these in half just so I don't have to think about it too much. And then we are going to just chop the peppers and add it with our onions. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Now, I just love using a green bell pepper. If you don't like green bell pepper, you can use red, you can use orange, you can use whatever. To get that classic flavor, they do use the green, and it is generally the cheapest, so it's going to save you money as well. Now it's time for celery. I'm going to throw this in the chopper as well. You need 3 ribs, stalk, I don't know what you call it, of celery. whatever it's called. All right, this is what I do with the celery is I remove the beautiful leaves. I know they're so pretty, but get them out of here. Get them out of here. This one is just a little short, guys, so I'm going to remove that off. I don't like the little seams. I don't know if, so I usually cut that out. It's just a preference. What do you guys call that? I call it a seam here where the two join. I just think it's a little bit tougher. And then we're going to cut off the bottoms. And you have your wonderful celery. Now, we want to do the same thing what we did with the bell pepper and cut it down to where it'll fit into the blade. And layer, whoops, try not to throw it. Layer it so you can do multiple at a time just to save time here. And done. Dunzo bunzo. Let's do another round here. I'm going to get that to fit. There you go. Perfect. Perfect. All right. The veggies are ready, friends. Look at that. Perfectly chopped veggies. So let's head on to the stovetop and get these beans a-kicking. So you want a pot big enough to hold about 6 to 7 cups of water. I'm using a thick, deep skillet, and that's going to work great. Heat it over medium-high heat, and then add in about a tablespoon of olive oil and heat that through. Then add the sausage to the pan, and we're going to brown this on both sides. So it's going to take about 5 to 7 minutes. I'm just going to use it to spread that olive oil around and then get it into a single layer to let it set to get that sausage nice and browned. It's been cooking for about a minute or two. After that, you want to go ahead and flip it to get the other side browned as well. So when you flip it, you can see how it's nice and browned on the edges. That's what you're looking for. It's going to add a lot of flavor to the sausage, and then you're also cooking that sausage fat into the pan, which we are going to use to help cook the beans and veggies, which is going to add just so much flavor. Once it's nice and browned, go ahead and use a slotted spoon, and you want to remove it from the pan. The reason we're using the slotted spoon is that we still want all the grease and the fat from the sausage to remain in the pan. We're going to set this aside while we get the beans and the veggies ready. And add in those veggies that we chopped up. And we're going to saute these until they're nice and soft. So about 5 to 7 minutes. I want every last bit of them in there. You want the heat to be about medium-high still. And I just like to toss it to get all that sausage grease soaked up in those veggies. Once the veggies are starting to get soft, add in the minced garlic. I'm going to do a tablespoon of pre-minced. You can do 4 cloves, freshly minced as well if you would like. We don't want to add this in the beginning because garlic can have a tendency to burn and it doesn't taste great. So we're just going to add that in now and let it cook for just about a minute. Add in a tablespoon Cajun seasoning. I'm using Tony's Creole seasoning, but any will work. Then add in a teaspoon of dried thyme leaves. Mine is ground thyme, so I'm just doing a half a teaspoon so that the flavor doesn't get too strong. Stir to coat those veggies in the seasoning. Add in 2 bay leaves and 4 cups chicken broth, or 1 carton. This is a 32-ounce carton of chicken broth. We're going to add the whole thing to the pot. Add in 2 cups water and the dried beans. Turn the heat up to high. Stir to combine these ingredients, and we want to bring this mixture to a boil. Once the mixture is boiling, cover it, reduce the heat to low, and let it simmer for about an hour and a half for those beans to get nice and tender. After about an hour and a half, go ahead and take the lid off, and we want to let it continue to simmer uncovered now to cook off the excess liquid for about 30 to 45 minutes until these beans are nice and softened and the sauce thickens up. It's been cooking for about 30 more minutes, and you can see how most of the liquid has cooked off and it's getting nice and thick. Now remove those bay leaves and then stir in the browned sausage that we browned at the beginning. And we're just going to let this simmer to heat that sausage back up through. It's only going to take about 10 to 15 more minutes, and then that's it. It's ready to serve. So while these beans were thickening, I went ahead and got my rice started over here, and it is cooking. So everything will be ready when this is ready here. Now it's time to just add in some of our little finishers. That's what I like to call them. First, we're going to do a little bit of salt and pepper. You can measure it out if you want. This is just going to be based on your taste preferences. I would start with a half a teaspoon of each and then kind of taste test it, and you can add more from there. I love grinding my own. It's like, I don't know. I just like the texture of it. I'm weird. I like it. So I just eyeball it, and it works every single time. Now we're going to add some green onions and some fresh parsley for added flavor. So first, let's chop up this green onion. I just like to get the wilted ends out of there. And we're just going to slice this up and mix it right in. Now, when you are doing your little add-ins, you can reserve some extra for like toppings if you want like to be pretty when you serve it. That's completely up to you. I don't generally do that if it's just at home. I'll probably do that for you guys so you can get a pretty shot of it. But if it's just my family, I just throw it all in there so it tastes wonderful. And then we are going to add in some fresh parsley. You want about 1/4 of a cup chopped, but this is the same thing. I just eyeball it. I use my large knife to get the leaves off of the parsley and then just chop it up and stir it in. And the size is just going to be based on your preference as well. I like mine a little bit smaller just so I don't have big pieces of leaves in my red beans and rice. And if you have any picky kids, they wouldn't like that either. Do your kids ever like say, ooh, what's this green stuff? You just say, oh, it's just parsley. They'll be like, oh, okay, that's good. So when you're chopping fresh herbs, I lost some there, just run your big knife through it one way, hold your small end of the knife onto the cutting board, and use the fat part of the knife to chop it up. And then I turn the knife the other way and chop it the other way as well to get a nice fine chop on the parsley. Just going to stir this in as well. I'm going to save a little bit to top it to make it pretty. And then that's it, guys. It's ready to serve and enjoy. Now, when I serve these, I usually serve it over rice because it's red beans and rice. But honestly, it has a lot of flavor and it's very good by itself as well. Time for my favorite part, taste testing. Now, I did forget to mention, if you like your red beans and rice a little thicker, you can mash up some of the beans with like a potato masher or a meat chopper, or just use your spatula and press them against the side of the pan. Some people like to do that, and you can definitely do that if you prefer. I just like them soft just as is, and it tastes great every time. It's perfect. I cannot wait for you guys to try this one and let me know what you think. If you love classic Southern red beans and rice, you guys are going to love this easy and affordable recipe. It is so good and packed with flavor. All right, friends, I am out of here. It's dinner time. I got to go enjoy these red beans with rice. Thank you so much for joining me today in my kitchen. I hope I inspired you to make an easy, delicious Southern classic meal at home instead of picking up takeout. All right, friends, I will see you next time. Until then, remember, eat at home by eating on a dime. Bye, friends.